Hello everyone, today we are reacting to episode 2 of the King Olly show titled Top 5 Best and Worst Final Bosses. I got nothing left to say right now, so let's dive right into it. Oh wait.
Oh boy, disclaimer.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this is by Doug Z and Doug 6. Alright, now let's dive into it. Oh, yeah, that's right, he made a new intro. I love that intro.
My name is King Olly,
Oh,
and
both
here
intros,
I am
okay.
to sing. I've got amazing content, hail the origami king. There'll be skits, countdowns, reviews, and many more. It's gonna be funny and entertaining, that's what you're here for. Well, you came to the right place, where everyone will know. This is gonna blow your mind, this is the King Olly Show. Hello everyone, I'm finally here, and about time too. Before I start, the resolution
Oh yeah,
of
that
my
was a
logo behind
reference to
me
DK
now has
rap.
a higher quality, as my other one was blurry. I apologize for that. Anyway, this next episode is where things start to get way more entertaining and interesting.
Aight.
So, I had a voting poll of who will be coming to my show on today's episode.
Yep, I
My
remember this.
sister, Mario, or Bowser. But the results have already been decided. Today's guest is my sweet, kind, caring, and wholesome sister who cares for her friends, especially Luigi. I'm looking at you, Solo! But enough of that. Coming to my show is my
Okay.
sister Olivia!
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be on the show! Brother, can you believe it? Yeah, me on your own show! Excitement! So much excitement all the way! I'm so hyped for this! I'm so hyped!
Yes, indeed. So, are you excited for today's episode?
Oh my goodness!
I am.
Yes!
Let the episode begin!
Let's go. I probably could have done that better, but whatever.
Final bosses are considered the final challenge of all video games,
Right.
and are often the main antagonist.
Man, that
of
is
the
such
game's
an underrated
story,
game,
and the
3D
defeat of
Land.
that character provides a positive conclusion to the game. One hand, we've had amazing final bosses with interesting music. Those who put up a good fight and are memorable, like my fight, being easily the most whimsical and cinematic in the entire Mario series.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm not
definitely.
A joke. I'm looking at you, Super Dimentio!
Calm down, Ollie.
I still
Remember,
haven't
not
played
many
Super
people
Paper
have the
Mario.
chance to
I really want to play
experience
that.
your insanely awesome fight, as have experienced the older games. Remember, you aren't even 2 years old yet.
Yeah, of course. But on the other hand,
True.
we have the opposite. There are final bosses who show up out of nowhere, being the opposite of epic. Bosses that rely too much on luck, unmemorable fights,
Yep.
disinteresting music, and
Yep.
their fights are cheap, as they bring so much frustration, as well as some that are really, really boring.
Boring
Yep.
games are not fun.
As for rules,
Exactly.
like every final boss countdown that you see on YouTube, we're including final bosses that put up a fight, one per game and one per franchise.
Right.
As for the
Makes
worst final
sense.
bosses, we're also not including final bosses that are hardly even called a fight, or those who stand there and do nothing, as those can be finished in less than a minute. We are disqualifying Lucian from Fable 2, MB from Metroid Other M, Cortex from Crash Bandicoot 2,
Aight.
Cortex Strikes Back, Shrouzer from Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, and Bowser from Mario Party 9.
What about
Well, that's
Galaxy
a
2?
specific list. It's enough for its own top 5.
Yeah. But seriously, how are they even battles? Also, they have to be the actual final boss in the game.
True.
So, no Count Black or Antasma as their penultimate bosses or pre-final bosses. They don't count.
Obviously.
In both worst and best final bosses, we're including those who actually put up a fight, whether in terms of being fun or being frustrating and cheap. Now, what I would do is torture myself with worst first to get that over with, and then calm down with best right after. So, sister,
Aye.
are we ready?
Ready when you are, brother.
Okay, let's begin the countdown.
Alright, so I assume we're starting with worst. Yep, worst.
Yup, Arkham Asylum.
Never
One
played
of,
it.
if not,
I really want
the
to.
best superhero game ever made.
Personally, the only superhero games I've ever played are Lego ones, but I'll take your word for it.
I mean, I played the Spider-Man game.
This game
Like, on
really
PS4.
does have a great feeling of escalation with its bosses, each one more threatening than the last, and each one feeling entirely unique. Throughout the entire game, there is a build-up
Hey,
to
it's
the
got
final
that
confrontation
1989
with the
game.
Joker,
That's
and
a great
where it
game.
is due, I don't think anyone expected what we got. And disappointment
And
is what we
I'm
got
getting
in the
spoilers here.
end.
Okay, what the heck is that? The heck is that? What?
For a game which has a boss
a
fight that
Titan
is
Joker?
totally out
What?
of place, we get Batman Arkham Asylum, specifically the final boss of the game. It's not just the Joker, no. It's the Joker on the powerful Titan serum. Not only is this totally
Titan serum?
uncharacteristic
What's
of
this,
the
Attack on
Joker to be
Titan?
using pure brawn to take down Batman, but the fight itself isn't that much fun either. The Joker is a great rival to Batman, not because he
True.
can match strength with a caped crusader. He's a great rival because he's incredibly unpredictable and mad.
True.
There's no telling what the Joker might do. And for a superhero that likes to play mind games with his enemies, Joker being absolutely crazy makes him a true test for Batman. Regardless, the actual fight is rather boring.
I never thought I'd ever hear the Joker get called boring.
True.
First, you dodge Titan Joker's advances, and then he retreats to a higher platform like a coward, where he calls in a bunch of henchmen to rough up Batman. It's another long-winded tiff between Batman and a series of generic grunts that players can probably get past in their sleep after this far into the game.
That description also reminds me of
Oh
the
wow,
Lego
this gameplay is
games.
very similar to Spider-Man. I'm talking about the 2018
Yes,
PS4
quite
game
right.
by Insomniac.
After the last grunt is
Like, this is
unconscious,
very similar.
Batman can use his grappling hook to grab the steroid advertisement Joker and pull him off his platform.
Steroid advertisement Joker! Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
Wholesome moments right here.
This dazes him enough for the Bat to get some nice shots in. Taking Joker's health down a third, this pattern continues until Titan Joker falls for good. It's just a tiresome battle that goes on for too long, and it completely messes up what the Joker is all about. The latter issue might not matter to those who are casual Dark Knight fans, but for the rest of us, it was a pretty unflattering version of Batman's greatest enemy. You're not even fighting the Joker!
At least let us fight the man himself!
Yes! You spend the majority of the fight dispatching the same random goons you have fought through the rest of the game until you can pull Mr. J down from his platform and smack him around a few times before he retreats and sends more goons after you. There's no real satisfaction to it.
But now it's time to put this aside for...
Number 4. Crash 3? Yeah, I haven't played this in like 2
Here we
years.
are, the final boss of the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. It's fittingly epic, as you face off against not only Cortex once more, but the evil mask that's been giving him
Yep,
orders this
Uka
whole
Uka.
time. Uka Uka. Except you're not alone as Aku Aku steps up to the plate to duke it out with his brother.
Yep.
Hey, why exactly are sibling fights so common in video games? I mean, there was our fight for one.
It's a setup worthy of the
Yeah,
finale for
true.
sure. As Crash, you're tasked with avoiding Cortex's blasts and his mines, while attempting to approach the scientist. At the same time, the two masks are engaged in an increasingly explosive battle which you must avoid at all costs. Eventually, when Cortex's guard is down, you can smack him down a shaft in the center of the arena for some damage, before he's fished out again by Uka Uka. The fight itself is pretty good and rather multi-layered for a Crash Bandicoot boss battle.
Then why is it on there? Oh wait,
That's definitely true from
oh
what
wait,
I know of
this
Crash
is
Bandicoot.
number 5
which is
best.
Admittedly, not much on the finer details, but still enough to know that, yeah.
Wait, I wasn't paying
Music-wise,
attention.
it's
Is this
also
best
a
or
winner.
worse?
The music is excellent.
Given that he's
The only
talking positive
downside
about
is
it,
that
then it's
once
positive.
again, it's a little easy, especially for the final boss. Cortex again suffers from only having 3 hits. I mean, in Crash Bandicoot 1, Cortex went down in 5 hits. But what's great about this, though, is Cortex's characterization. Not just here, but in Warped in general. By this point, he really doesn't care anymore. It's funny to see him basically being pushed around by Uka Uka. Plus, defeating Cortex will earn you the immortal line.
Maybe I should retire to a nice big beach with a nice big drink and a woman with nice big bags of ice on my head.
Okay, next entry. I don't want to dwell on that phrase for much longer.
That was funny. Okay. Oh, okay. I see how it is. So you do worse than best.
More disappointment on the way. I hate Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, or should I say Spyro 02, because this is the Spyro equivalent.
I literally
of
just
Sonic
started
06,
Spyro 1.
Except this came before that abomination. Both are rushed games with a ton of glitches, making both of them really unplayable.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
At least Sonic 06 had an epic final battle against Solaris.
True.
But with Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, oh, we get the opposite of epic. Oh my god, this fight is so terrible. And before I start, this is the only boss in the whole game. Well, at least it's better than nothing. The fight has 3 phases, like the fantastic fight from Spyro 2. How did the developers make this fight worse?
Enlighten us, Olly.
Well, Ripto first pulls up a shield of ice spheres that force you to use your fire breath to melt them and attack Ripto. This is easier said than done, however, as Ripto zips around the arena way too fast. Get back here so I can attack you.
Dang it, that Sonic 06 comparison was almost too accurate.
Not only do Ripto's ice spheres act as a shield, but they can also be fired as homing shots. These
What?
shots have a ridiculously pro accuracy, and the animation you go through lasts a bit too long. Long enough for Ripto to spam these shots at you until you're dead. Once you've hit Ripto, phase 2 begins. Does he become more of a challenge now? Is he gonna make the fight good now?
Yes?
Of course not! He does the exact same thing, but with fire instead of ice, forcing you to use your
What?
ice breath instead. But it plays out
Wow.
the exact same way the first phase did, making this phase pointless. So far, the first 2 phases are both identical, but the only difference is instead of ice, it's fire. I mean, come on! Do something different for once!
Developmentals was so much more creative with the fire, ice, and all that.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. After all of that, the fight still isn't over.
Oh,
Because
no,
now
it
he
ain't.
casts a spell on himself, turning him into a horrifying monster, which could be terrifying for very young gamers.
What is that thing?
I'm not scared. I'm not frightened. I've seen scarier final bosses
Yep,
that scream
same.
nightmare fuel. I'm not intimidated by Ripto turning himself into a giant troll.
I kind of am, though.
The third phase isn't any better, as Ripto's attacks still have the same effects as the first 2 phases. 0 difference.
Oof.
Zilch. The game can also glitch at times by having Ripto's AI completely vanish out of his model, which will prevent the fight from progressing.
Oh no, not a soft lock!
The music is absolutely terrible. It starts out pretty good at first, but then it becomes a clustered mess at the end, right down to where it sounds like Stuart Copeland is bashing his head against the piano. And, oh my goodness, this has to be one of the worst final boss themes I've ever heard in a video game. All you get for completing 100% of the game is Ripto gaining a third phase and transformation in his final battle, and an ending cutscene after the final battle is somewhat insulting for fans who got the patience to fully complete it.
In other
What
words,
kind of
not
game
me.
requires you to fully 100% the game in order to see the ending?
I'm pretty sure I could list a few. Wait a minute, I just remembered the West Part! It's entirely possible to glitch yourself into the final boss as early as about the start of the game.
What?
Speedrunners use this as a tactic. And when you do,
Really?
it only does the first phase. I remember watching this in a video.
Wow. I didn't know that. Alright, number 4 best. Let's see it.
I hate World of Light. I really
Yeah.
do. It has tedious pacing, a mandatory boss rush, most of the modes just consisting of spirit matches, having
True.
some unfair spirit battles, and having not much cutscenes or bosses.
True.
Overall, a boring story mode and a complete waste of time.
Yeah,
But
Subspace
is the final
Missionary is
boss
better.
worth it? Definitely. If you want to talk about high stakes, though, the final battle against Galim and Darkon in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the epitome of it. After fighting them separately, followed by Master Hand and Crazy Hand going to town on the evil clones, our heroes dodge attacks while platforming up, stopping to battle both light and dark clones, before facing off against all of the game's bosses again, aka another boring boss rush. Galim and Darkon collide multiple times before the player fights them both, avoiding their screen-wide attacks and finally putting an end to the cosmic battle in World of Light. Negatives: once they become stunned, the other will try to attack it. Back off if this happens, as the
Yeah.
attack will do 40 to 50% damage and will
Damn.
score a good chunk
I
of
remember
damage
this, though.
on the other. So
But
this
damn, so
attack
much.
can negate your opportunity to attack in exchange for them to attack. They can also hit each other with their own attacks, but it will hardly make a difference.
Right.
They can also take their sweet time to unleash another attack. So, that's your opportunity to hit them. This is a fantastic finale that puts your skills to the test, with neither side helping you against the other. The music is phenomenal, and
Oh,
this
yeah,
feels
I
like
agree.
the true final battle in all of the Super Smash Bros. Games. Especially that Ultimate is the last entry.
Yeah.
Even though I absolutely hate World of Light more than Subspace Emissary from Brawl,
Yeah, that was way
the
better.
final boss fight with Galim and Darkon is really awesome and epic.
Sorry, I was so distracted by the awesome fight to make any comments. Not contents, comments. Sorry. I promise I know how to speak.
I don't blame you. Next!
Alright. Alright, number 3 worst. What is it?
My sister loves Psychonauts!
I really do. I love Psychonauts.
Never
That's
heard
one
of
of
it.
the most charming protagonists in any game ever. Oh my goodness, I love him and I want to give him a big hug.
But we can agree with everyone that the Meat Circus is the worst level and the final boss is no better.
That is very true. The Meat Circus is infamous for a reason.
So, after an unforgiving final level,
Escort missions suck.
you reach the big top and you are greeted by the Butcher, who is a mental manifestation of Coach Oleander's father and is the personal demon responsible for his evil behavior as he's going around killing rabbits.
Wow.
Anyways, the 4-phase final battle
Rabbits?
starts with you
Why?
fighting the Butcher. He's a laughably easy boss and at the same time annoying. After you beat him, you are greeted by evil Augustus, who is the manifestation of Raz's fear towards his father. In phase 2, you have to climb up the circus while insta-kill water rises, and Raz's manifestation of his father tries to kill you. Combine that with the tight platforming and you have the level's most ill-reputed bit. And it's really frustrating.
I'm honestly dreading playing this part. At least the Steam version patched it to have more checkpoints.
You're right. By the time you revisit the big top, you fight Raz's dad and the Butcher working together. Is that gonna make things harder? No! I'm not joking that the third phase is actually easier than the other 2 phases.
Damn.
Should the fight be harder as we get to the next phases? And when
Yeah.
you defeat them both, they come back as the 2-headed dad monster.
Props to the designers. Said monster is, in fact, very scary.
True. Will things get better with the final phase? No! The fight is like Titan Joker again, but it is more boring and not fun. Well, the two-headed dad monster did come before Titan Joker. The worst part of all is that beating this boss is painfully simple. All you have to do is run away from him and dodge his painfully easy attacks, which are really easy to avoid, until your power builds up, and then attack him if you can. Perhaps my biggest complaint of all is that this final boss is boring. Like, after all, who would run away from the boss and wait until you're fully charged and punch him?
I know.
There's no challenge. Now, there are two things I like. One, the music is great.
Yes! It really is! Man on the internet even has a great epic lyrical cover of the main theme of the level. It's awesome. Plus, said theme is very catchy. It also gives people trauma when they hear it. Like, I've seen multiple people when playing Psychonauts 2. When we get to the flea
Just like me at
circus,
Megalovania.
and the meat circus starts
Like,
playing,
I am
they're all
actually
just
scarred
like,
for life from
no,
that.
not this again. Sorry.
And two, this level introduces Raz's father, and their reunion is very heartwarming and touching.
So to sum it all up, great concept and story, but the execution in gameplay is pretty poor.
I thought final bosses are supposed to be challenging, not laughably easy. Talk about anticlimactic and pathetic.
Hi. It was Double Fine's first game, though, and this is the only really bad part of it, so make sure to cut them a bit of slack, brother.
Oh boy, things are gonna get more exciting here and there. So, Kirby final bosses like Marx, Nightmare, Zero Two, Void Termina, and who am I kidding? We all know who's the best final boss of the Kirby series, Magalore.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Magalore is
Thank you.
adorable!
Magalore is
True.
a well-written and memorable antagonist.
Yeah.
Before the battle, you are greeted by a very intense cutscene. It's revealed that Magalore has been using Kirby and his friends to steal the Master Crown, thereby making him
Top
a
10
traitor to
anime
them.
betrayals.
What does he do? He steals it and uses it to conquer the universe.
Dun dun dun!
Before the battle, you fight against the Law Star Cutter while riding Landia, which has its own selection of attacks, and, while not the most challenging part of the battle, it's incredibly fun to literally shoot at it with
yeah.
Landia's blast.
Oh, this is kind of reminding me of that time Mario had to fight off your paper airplanes, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Once you've done that, you finally get to face Magalore himself, and being
I
the
did a
final
playthrough
boss,
of this,
he has a huge
Kirby's Return to
variety
Dreamland.
of cool and flashy attacks,
yeah, man.
such as launching out energy spheres, creating
was-
black holes,
it was
firing
fun,
an energy beam, and so much more. When Magalore is down to the last bit of his health in the first phase, he will create a shield that can only be damaged by super abilities. This part in particular is super intense.
Yep.
Once you've done the first phase, the way that Kirby defeats Magalore in the first phase is epic. Just watch.
Whoa!
But we're not done yet. It
Nope.
gets better. The
Uh-huh.
Master Crown revives him into his final form, and the epicness has reached up to maximum. And it is amazing. In the second phase, all of Magalore's attacks have been recreated, some of which have also been altered. For example, while he fires the energy beam like normal, he will also fire an energy beam at a portal and will launch out the energy beam from the portal in many ways.
Dang, that is a cool move!
Magalore also gets new attacks in the second phase, such as going through portals and ramming at you. During the second phase, Magalore can also use dark versions of Kirby's super abilities. Deplete his health, you finally beat the game, and watch this incredible ending. Magalore has a lot of health in both forms,
Yep.
so this battle is going to be long and enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
Guess what? Magolor's EX form is even better. Not only does
Yeah,
he
never
get
got to
even
that.
more attacks, but his second form
What? No.
gets redesigned and gets its own name.
Sorry about that.
Magolor Soul, which will be a staple for the 3D Kirby games. Magolor has such wicked and cool designs, such as an example goes to his final form.
You look so terrifying, and yet still kind of cute. Oh, and not to mention the music. You know a song is good when Man on the Internet or Juno Songs has made a cover of it.
The atmosphere is amazing and beautiful. So overall, this is a very fun and challenging battle. So, why is he number 3?
Yeah, why is he only number 3?
Well, he would be higher if he didn't have 2 problems. First of all, some of Magolor's attacks can get a bit too tricky to avoid, such as the Dark Super Flame, and finally, there's no epic finisher in the second phase, as you
Yeah.
simply just have to deplete Magolor's health, normally like the previous 7 bosses.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
true.
you did an epic finisher in phase 1, so why can't you do it again here? But despite that, Magolor truly is an awesome final boss from the one and only Kirby series.
Someday I want to meet Kirby. He seems so friendly.
True. Number 2 worst.
Now we're diving further into really bad final bosses. As bad as those previous entries were, they at least had some redeeming qualities. But because we're at the final 2 bosses in the worst final boss category, this is the part where I'm absolutely livid right now!
Brother, please, we haven't even started talking about the actual boss yet. Don't go ballistic now.
What franchise have I not tackled? How about we look at some final bosses from the Sonic series that are just awful? We've had some really great final bosses in the franchise, but I'm covering the worst ones by far. So, I was going to put the Time Eater on the list, but I can't. The music is good, but not as good as the other past and present Sonic final boss themes. And the 3DS version of the Time Eater is much better.
Yeah.
Plus, such a cool name. Time Eater. It sounds so menacing and deadly, but yet also simple.
Too bad that this fight can eat your time.
Okay, that was a really good one.
Thanks. Am I gonna put Dark Gaia on the list? No. As bad as the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions were, the PS2 and Wii versions are far better. That fight had great music and the atmosphere was fantastic.
And once again, cool concept and name.
Yep. So, what is number 2 on the worst list? Simple! The final boss of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1!
Oh no.
Never
Before
played
you
it.
fight the final boss, like in Sonic Advance 2,
Wait, is this
you
the
must
mobile
fight
one?
all of these bosses you fought earlier again.
Wait, yeah,
in a
that's the one
tedious
on
boss
mobile.
run.
Sonic the Hedgehog
Okay,
4.
once that's done and over with, you fight the Death Egg Robot, or rather Metal Robotnik. This fight
That's
is
literally
horrendous
Sonic 2.
because this boss is a complete copy-paste of the final boss of Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah.
That's already sounding about enough being a straight-up copy.
So, what makes this fight different? Well, you have rings and homing attacks, and because the robot's hitbox is enormous, you could just make Sonic spam his attacks on it. Yeah, Sonic 2's final boss had no rings and the Death Egg robot was absurdly hard. But it is a much more epic and difficult final boss encounter compared to the first game's final zone. So man up and fight the damn robot!
Brother, language!
Sorry, sister.
Yeah, you're from a
As
Ray
I
Lee
was saying,
game.
After
What
you
the
beat
hell,
phase
man?
1, phase 2 is an absolute annoyance. Metal Robotnik will become shrouded in electricity, preventing you from attacking it normally. In phase 2, Sonic has to knock the arms right back at it to stun it and do damage to it. However, the arm's hitbox is very inconsistent. As sometimes he'll knock them back, and other times he just takes damage. Also, the robot can fire a laser from its jetpack. The laser itself shoots to an unbearable range. While still stunned, the
Right.
robot can still attack you if you're not expecting that. Also, the boss's health is also inconsistent, as it's supposed to take 24 hits until it's defeated, but after that amount of hits, it keeps on attacking like it has health left.
24?
What?
Why? After dealing 24 hits, the robot will launch itself into the air and punch the ground. But the location as to where it will punch the ground is randomized. If you lose, you have to beat this boss all over again. Once you finally beat him, there's 0 victory. Zilch!
Dang it, I'm so tempted to make another Psychonauts reference here. There's a character named Bobby Zilch. Oh no, I'm thinking of Bobby again, no!
No.
Nope, just a sigh of relief that it was finally over. This boss has an obnoxious difficulty spike and has an inconsistent health bar. Oh, the music is ear-bleeding as the final boss theme plays on loop. And that loop
I
lasts
assume it's this
for
song.
15 seconds, repeating itself over and over again. I don't like it because it sounds more like a level theme. Hell, calling it a level theme still sounds generous. Thank God episode 2 has a way original final boss, which is why you should skip episode 1, because I don't want them to fight this atrocity. And do you know what the worst part is? It isn't even number 1.
I'm pretty sure I know what number 1 is.
That way later on.
I'm pretty sure I know what
time
number
to
1
calm
is.
down. For the best, brother.
You're right.
Oh wait, he
as we
already said what
dive
number 1
into the
is, so
best
yeah.
category.
Although I am curious about his favorites.
This can be summed up in one word.
Oh, yes. Yes. Hell yeah. And that is a really great remix of the song.
Yes, I knew it would be here!
You knew this would be on here. I mean,
Yeah.
how many final boss lists had Dark Bowser and Dark Star Core in them? Not many.
Which is a crime!
It is a war crime.
This is the most epic confrontation I've seen in a Mario game. The Dark Entities have become one. The Dark Star takes the form of Bowser, and
Yep.
Forful's bug form is still in its own control.
Yep.
I knew this would be awesome right from the beginning. The cutscene before the fight starts is amazing. With nowhere left to run, Dark Bowser unleashes a dark hurricane over the Mushroom Kingdom, plunging it into darkness. Starlo attempts to encourage Bowser and reveal Mario and Luigi are inside his body the whole time and willing to help him. But the windstorm is too loud for Bowser to hear her. I even love the speech before the fight really starts. The background, as Bowser himself says, is the perfect backdrop for a final battle.
Really is.
And I
Oh,
100%
yeah.
agree. It's Bowser
Same.
on Bowser Carnage.
Hell
I've got
yeah.
to fight myself, and honestly, one of the greatest enemies to overcome in your life is
Is you-
yourself.
Yes,
The
true.
fight is split into 2 halves. One for Dark Bowser and one for the Dark Star Core. With the Dark Star having the power to copy Bowser's DNA and absorb what's left of Dark Forward, Dark Bowser is one tough foe, and he has ubered versions of Bowser's moves. Delivering sliding punches that hit hard, fling himself in the air with his spike ball form and try to crush you, summoning a giant meteor that splits into smaller meteors that rain down on you while trying to breathe fire on you, and trapping you in a cage as he tries to kill you with a deadly energy ball. All
Spirit
you have
bomb.
to do is deplete Dark
Give me your
Bowser's
energy.
1000 HP, or rather 1500 if you equip the challenge medal, and Dark Bowser is done. Or so you thought. He is then fully healed by Dark Forful and grows 3 times larger. Which then you have to deal with an onslaught of dark versions of Bowser's minions at you. Goombas, Koopa Troopers, Thwomps, Bob-ombs, and Bullet Bills.
Yep.
Very scary.
You have to punch Dark Bowser's stomach to make him spit out what's left of Forful and lose his power. Bowser must then inhale him for the Mario Bros to fight. And this fight gets 10 to 1,000 times cooler!
Yes, it does. That Super Saiyan sound
This
effect
is
was
it,
very
the
appropriate.
last stand of the Mean Bean Machine himself, now fused with the source of all the negative energy. Mario and Luigi must fight this grotesque abomination in their final bid to save the Mushroom Kingdom. Just like Cackleta's soul, Elder Princess Shroob, Dreamy Bowser, and Shiny Robo Bowser, you must take out several parts before exposing the weak point.
Yep.
A working formula.
Both villains fused as one. The core has some crazy attacks that are difficult but fun to dodge. By breaking Forful's glass eyes and its three-leg appendages, you can finally directly damage the Darkstar core itself. After you finally destroy it, we get a really badass moment of Bowser finishing off his Dark Doppelganger with War Tail Punch! And it is spectacular! Using the power of fire and stars, Bowser delivers the most damaging standard attack in the series, killing Dark Bowser and restoring peace to the Mushroom Kingdom, and brings to a satisfying conclusion to the best game of 2009.
I need to play this game.
What's amazing about this fight is that
I
this
can't wait
right
to do a
here
playthrough of
feels
it.
like the ultimate showdown, more so than the other Mario games. Dark Bowser is imposing, and fighting Forful one last time inside Bowser's body is intense. And
Yep.
the music
Yes.
is phenomenal.
I mean, this channel does have at least 5 mashups, so it'd have to be good for that.
No wonder it got 5 mashups of this already popular song. Easily the best song in the game and the best video game song of 2009. This feels like the end game of the Mario series, as the unique dynamic with both Bowser and Mario and Luigi on the same side led to the best final boss of the Mario series. So, if Dark Bowser and Darkstar Core are amazing, why isn't it number 1?
So what is this only number 2, Olly? It's amazing.
While the original is
What
still
could be better than
spectacular,
this?
the 3DS version of the fight
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
that threw it off.
downgrade. Sure, it plays the same with much cooler graphics, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but the music in this, while it's good for some, but for me, it's inferior to the original.
Sure. And it's so much
That,
slower.
brother.
While Bowser's sprites in Overworld are amazing, I don't think I can say the same for the battle sprites. They look weird. I don't know why. You know how Broggy Bonker used to look goofy, but still looked right? Well, in the remake, it looks weird. Not weird in a goofy way, just weird. Dark Bowser was very easy in the original, and difficulty didn't raise in the remake. It just looks the same. It could have been harder. For me, there are only 2 new harder things. The jail attack looks definitely harder, and those weird spinning dark balls from
whatever
the
that's
core
called.
that are harder than the spinning spear lance thing. Nothing else got buffed. There were HP upgrades on the remake, but nothing crazy. Still easy. They could have launched new attacks. Dark Bowser's sprite looks weird, but not bad. Dark Forful looks like a copy of the original sprite,
Yeah, it
but
looks
with
pretty
some
much the same.
shading. The Darkstar core looks the same. The only 3D things are the limbs. Could have been better, like Cackleta's soul from the Superstar Saga remake. Here, he's half 2D and half 3D. The song doesn't end when Darkstar Core dies and Bowser
Exactly.
delivers the final KO punch.
That's the
Before
biggest
fight
downfall.
starts, Bowser looks like he's getting pushed by the storm. In the original game, Bowser was resisting the storm, showing how cool, strong, and badass he is to survive that. In the remake, it looks like he's losing against the Dark Storm. So yeah, the 3DS remake lacked a lot of things that made the original great. But despite that, this boss battle remains absolutely breathtaking and easily one of my favorites.
I have to agree with all of this. Awesome battle, but did we really need a remake of this game? It was perfect as is.
Yeah. Partners in Time should have got the remake.
But before we get to number 1 of the worst final bosses, here are some dishonorable mentions
All right.
before my brother starts to lose his temper.
Bowser from Super Mario Galaxy 2.
True.
The last phase is a joke, just like Super Dementio.
Yep.
Nasty Knock from Spyro 1. You gotta give credit to how the name is spelled, though. It's clever and fun.
Yeah, I can agree on that. Bitter Cold from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. Shadow
Never
Queen,
played it.
but done worse.
Bowser from Super Mario Sunshine. What is
Never
in
got
that
that
hot
far.
tub, and why is it green? I'm scared to find out.
Necron from Final Fantasy IX. A boss who shows up out of nowhere.
Sigma from Mega Robotech
True.
Strikes Back. You know, it's funny, he was on both the good and bad sides of the spectrum here.
Baby Bowser and Bowser from Yoshi's New Island. An
Never
insult
played
to
that.
an awesome final boss.
Dark Base Ganon from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I guess Calamity Ganon too? Calamity Ganon was a pretty cool looking fight though, but like, Dark Base Ganon, yeah, it's basically just, you're just riding around, shooting arrows, not much.
And the Polygon Man from PlayStation All-Stars Battle
Do
Royale.
not want to play that one.
Pathetic fight.
I don't want to
Before
play
we get
that.
to the worst final boss ever,
I know it's
Let's recap.
obvious.
Number 5, Titan Joker, aka Steroid Advertisement Joker. I'm still not over that.
number 4, Ripto. Horrible game that competes with Sonic 06.
Number 3, The Butcher and Raz's Dad, aka the two-headed dad monster. Great in the narrative sense, but not so much in the gameplay sense.
And number 2, Metal Robotnik. An idea
Yeah,
more
he already
overused
mentioned what number
than
1 will be.
Nega
So
Wisp Armor.
it's gonna be a Jasper Bratt Jr. I think that's his name.
Oh no, it's this guy. Oh no, what?
No! Not this again! My fury is coming back!
Olly, stay calm.
And number 1 has the most unfair final boss in video game history. If you've seen my previous episode of my hated villains,
I have.
this guy was number 2. If you've seen him before, then you know exactly. Oh, for crying out loud! Jasper Bat Jr. is number 1!
Olly, calm down, please.
I know this has been done to death by many people who made
Never
their
played
hated
that game,
characters
though.
and worst final bosses list, but I'm still gonna do it! Jasper Bat Jr. is my hated video game villain of all time and my second despised villain ever! So, allow me to dissect this battle for you. The first phase of this unfair fight is so easy that you can beat him without taking damage once with no problem. However, to continue the fight, there is a point in which you must lose a quick time event against him.
Wait, lose the quick time event? Are you sure you said that right, brother? What?
But you wouldn't know that the first time playing unless you looked it up. It's really easy and really boring. Oh, then comes the worst part of the fight. Phase 2! Now
Yeah,
the
he said
goes
this
from
fight is pretty much
pathetic
impossible.
to unfair and sadistic. Jasper has attacks that are so brutal to dodge, especially a triple teleport punch. He's got other unfair moves like a grab and a swarm of laser bats.
Laser bats! Oh wait, his name is Bat, sorry. Yeah, it does kind of make sense when you say think about that, but...
Worst yet, after losing a certain amount of health, he starts throwing airwaves every time he uses his teleport punch attack, making it even harder to dodge. Just look at this image of Jasper's second form right here. He rips off Batman. No wonder Jasper had Bat in his name. Really, it's a Batman Joker Superman mix-up.
Yep.
If you are near a window and Jasper hits you, there's a
You're
good
dead.
chance that he'll Falcon punch you and die instantly. This phase is so freaking cheap. Even if you somehow manage to defeat Form 2, Jasper reveals his third form and... Oh, come on!
That creepy giant biting...
I've already ranted on this form before,
Yeah.
that this is lame compared to my final form.
True.
And again,
That is way better.
My final form is way more cooler than this.
Yeah,
This right
it
here
is.
has to be the worst concept for a final boss ever. This doesn't look scary or imposing. This looks like a rejected Looney Tunes character. As for the final
True.
phase, while not as sadistic as the previous phase was, but it is
Right.
very annoying due to the wonky camera, and Jasper's attacks are extremely powerful and have a long range as well. It's ridiculously confusing because he can punch you from literally anywhere in the room. But nonetheless, it's still easy. What were you smoking when you created this abomination of a battle?
At least the music is good.
Hey, I need that
Yes,
more
the
than that
soundtrack
person
is
that
marvelous
created
and
this.
slaps. So, unlike Metal Robotnik, this has a redeeming factor as the rest of No More Heroes 2 soundtrack slaps. But I'm still not done! When you finally kill Jasper, it's not Both Forful and Dementio both die with a grin on their faces.
Yeah.
But at least they were funny and entertaining.
At least for them it made sense. They were planning to take the heroes down with them. Ah!
But here, he dies with a grin for absolutely no reason.
Oh shit.
You know what? I utterly
What is he, Dark Ollie now?
and loathe this battle, because in every single way to me, it is a rage-inducing experience. When the game filled up a #1 assassin, I was genuinely rooting for and begging for an epic battle, like Henry from the first No More Heroes. But he shoves his irritating self right into the limelight. He's a murderer, he's annoying, he's maddeningly difficult to beat, and he robs me of a good final battle. I hate him, and never before have hated a final boss so down to my very core of my life. Jasper Jr. is everything I hate about a bad final boss. It's unfair, it's boring, it's anticlimactic, it's tedious, it's a terrible experience, and an insult to an awesome game, making this the worst final boss I've ever faced. And while I love No More Heroes 2, I'll never forget the developers for this terrible final boss!
Whoa.
I'm gonna take this fight and shove it right up his...
Olly! Stop! Calm the heck down! Please! This is getting out of hand!
I'm terribly sorry, Olivia. This guy literally triggered me to no end, and he made me angry. Though not as angry as my reaction to Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin.
True.
But still, my experience with Jasper isn't pleasant in the slightest. Alright, I'm calm now, as I'm feeling much better. Now, before we reveal the best final boss in video game history, here are some honorable mentions.
Let's hear it.
Elder Princess Shrew from Partners in Time. That music gives me the chills every time. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Gygus from Earthbound, classic nightmare fuel.
Ganon from Ocarina of Time. A true classic. The Zelda games are so special to me.
Hades from Kid Icarus Uprising, an incredible fight against the Lord of the Underworld.
Bowser from Super Mario
Yes.
Galaxy. Such an awesome finale in space.
Ripto from Spyro 2, definitely fitting for the best Spyro villain.
Kefka from Final Fantasy 6, I think that's it. Who is this? I feel like I've heard this name before, but I don't know who this is.
Yami from Okami,
Alright.
another epic battle.
Zonus from Kingdom Hearts 2. Don't ask me to
Never
clarify.
played
Kingdom
Kingdom
Hearts
Hearts.
is very confusing to try and explain.
Nega Wisp
never
Armor from
played it.
Sonic Colors, a true
Oh, yeah,
battle
true.
against the iconic video game scientist himself.
King Olly from Paper Mario the Origami King. Seriously, brother, you're amazing.
Dreamy Bowser from Mario and Luigi Dream Team.
Yep.
Bowser really knows what he's doing now.
Baby Bowser from Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. He is an absolutely terrifying for a baby. And when you think about it, the example of a creepy baby boss done right.
And King K. Rool from Donkey Kong Country 1, an epic showdown against the King of Crocs.
True.
Now that my brother has recovered from his hatred, rampage,
Experience.
tirade, whatever, about Jasper Bat Jr., and before we get to the best final boss ever, let's recap!
Number 5, Cortex and Uka Uka, one of the best 2 against 1 fights.
Number 4, Galim and Dokon. Dark versus Light, the ultimate fight!
And versus you.
Number 3, Magalore,
Versus you.
crowned as the best epic fight in the Kirby
Hey,
game.
nice.
And number 2, Dark Bowser and Dark Starcore. And in the final hour of fading light. That song never gets old.
No, it doesn't. Number 1 best. This one I'm curious about.
This is it, folks. We've reached the summit of the best final bosses. Wait. Am I missing another franchise that nobody covered? Oh, yeah! Undertale!
Warning! Massive
Yep.
spoilers ahead!
I already
Just
played it.
warning, anyone who hasn't played the games now.
I've done the playthrough of it.
If you finished Undertale but haven't gotten the true ending, you
I
haven't
have.
really finished Undertale. The good news is that
Exactly.
it's not hard to get. Just complete the game without killing anyone and make sure to befriend every major character. If you're level 1, at the end, you're golden. Go finish the game, then wander around until you get a phone call. Follow the directions from there. If you
Yep.
have seen the true ending, let's talk about it.
Hell
This is
yeah.
where the spoilers start, by the way.
Let's set the stage. Azrael, the misguided demon prince who's been following and hounding your character, better known as Frisk, for the whole game, has absorbed your friend's souls and emerged from flower form just in time to play with you. It's me, he says, your best friend.
Yep.
Twist!
True.
This is something of a shock.
I think I can do a
You
great
heard
impression of
Azrael,
Flowey.
the child of Asgore and Tori. But who would have thought he was actually Flowey the whole time? The first
Flowey
character
the
you meet in
flower.
the game, the one who tries to convince
That wasn't
you
my
that
best
the
work,
mantra
but-
of Undertale's world really is
Yeah.
kill or be killed.
True.
That was Azrael all along? It's a good thing you never listened, or else you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, we don't talk about genocide, no, no. We don't talk about genocide.
Anyways, Azrael's here to fight you, and he brought along one hell of a theme song.
Yep.
And it is beautiful!
Yes.
Azrael is one of the 3 possible final bosses, specifically of the game's pacifist route.
Yep.
I promised myself I would never play the genocide route, and the
I
neutral
used to,
route's final boss
promise
is good too. But Azrael is by far the most narratively satisfying. The point of the pacifist route is, as the name suggests,
Don't kill anyone.
spare every monster you meet. Don't even throw a punch if you can help it. At the end, every monster comes to keep you from fighting the game's fake-out final boss, King Asgore. Unfortunately, that's what the game's central antagonist, Flowey, wanted. He then proceeded to absorb the souls of every monster in the underground to regain his original body. That of the king's dead son, Azrael.
Yep.
At first, this feels like any other fight. One you can win by outlasting your opponent and saying the right things. But you'll soon realize that your only interaction options are hope and dream. Certainly not enough to convince
Roll
this demon
credits
child
for
to
the
go
name
away.
of the
I
song.
mean, aren't hopes and dreams the start of any action, though? The hope that something you do will make an impact, and the dream of following through and making things better?
True.
As Azrael starts firing attacks at you, whipping out shooting stars and energy beams in attempts to blast you to oblivion, he'll explain that he just wants things to go back to how they used to be. He wants to hit the reset button and go back to before. Before that first human ruined everything. Before an interloper named Frisk started trying to save the world. At some point during this barrage of bullets, you might lose all your HP. You'll start to see the standard game over screen.
Yep.
This will happen. You can't die, of course. You just can't. You're too
Exactly.
determined. In order to free everyone, you have to fight the newly revived prince.
True.
Battle is a spectacle with stars, psychedelic background imagery, and lots of hopes and dreams. You can't hurt Azrael, but you can't die either. After a couple dozen
Exactly.
rounds with Azrael, you'll start to realize that he can't destroy you. After a while, Azrael transforms into a more godlike form, and the music will swell once again. His final form is immense in power that you can't do anything. Except for calling on your friends.
Yep.
You don't have many options at this point. Your health is low, but you can't use healing items. You can't fight or spare or even try to run away. Your only command option is struggle, which is more than a little disconcerting. You begin to worry that you did something wrong, that you'll have to start again.
I hope it doesn't do recoil damage like in Pokemon.
At this point, it becomes clear that if you're gonna win, you're gonna have to do something drastic. Earlier, you'd learned that the player can manipulate events in the world of Undertale through save files. So that's what you'll try to do. But Asriel stops you. By absorbing all of those souls, he's gained the ability to block your powers. Seems saving the game really is impossible, Undertale tells you. But maybe, with what little power you have, you can save something else. That's when you figure it out. You're going to save your friends.
Oh my goodness, that wordplay is genius!
At this point, you have to free them all individually. As the music swells up and down, you'll gradually save each friend, dodging their old attacks and bringing them back from the abyss by reminding them of the memories you've shared. Crossword. Spaghetti. Butterscotch pie.
Ooh, butterscotch. Yummy. I like butterscotch.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
an
good.
incredible few minutes, enhanced by the stakes, the music,
Although I
and
think
for
I said
me,
I prefer
the sudden
Cinnamon
realization that these
in
characters
Undertale
are actually kind of cool.
when I did my playthrough of it.
Alphys, especially Sans, and Papyrus, and Undyne. Once you free them all, you realize that in order to beat Asriel, there's one more monster you need to save.
Asriel.
Himself. And if you're not already bawling as you mash the save button over and over again during the final part of this fight, well, you will. The whole sequence
Yeah, I'll
is
admit, I almost
spectacular.
cried when I
The
first played
payoff of this
Undertale.
battle justifies even the slowest of Undertale setups. And
Like,
the
not during my
music,
playthrough, obviously,
dear
because I
Lord,
played it a few
the
times.
music. I listened to the final boss theme and it was wonderful. Combine both titles together and you get Hopes and Dreams. Save the world.
Oh my goodness!
Genius.
This feels like the true endgame of a video game more than the grand finale. Or in the final.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually love this theme more than in the final. Because at
Really?
the very least, this doesn't repeat itself over and over again. This is more epic than Shiny Robo Bowser and Nega Wisp Armor. Undertale is a game that deals with a lot of issues, and Asriel has to deal with the inevitability of death. He died tragically as a child, trying to honor his late friend. His soul shoved into a flower unwittingly, but as a result, he was left a husk of his former self, especially emotionally. Now he took the pleasure in resetting the timeline over and over again just to see different outcomes, until you came along. Now as you fight him, you have to help him realize that his continued existence would only cause others to suffer, and that he needs to move on. The moment after you win, when he reverts back to his child appearance and cries on your shoulder, is one of my favorite moments in all of video games.
Yep, it was so
Making
wholesome.
me cry!
This game as a whole is incredibly emotional, and the thing that got me to care so much about the quality of characters in fiction, Asriel is the ultimate culmination of that. Whether you see him as an enemy who captured the friends you made, or as another soul you need to save, you can't deny that Asriel is one of the best characters in this game.
True.
And my favorite final boss in video game history. It is so beautiful. Not only is Asriel my favorite final boss of all time, but this battle has my favorite final boss theme ever. Woo! That was awesome and intense, wasn't it?
It was! That was a roller coaster of emotions!
I hope you enjoyed our list of our best and worst final bosses, and I do apologize about my rage against Jasper Bat Jr.
Oh,
Though
no, don't
my
worry, it's
rage is
understandable.
100% justified. So,
It is
sister, did you have
justified.
fun?
Heck yes! This was awesome! I hope we can do this again sometime! Do any of you watching want to see me return in the future?
Yep.
Let us know down below. And let us know your top 5s as well. We'd love to see what your favourite and least favourite bosses are.
Yeah, I'll have to
Yours
think
will
about that.
probably be a lot different than ours.
This truly is an experience for the both of us.
Indeed.
So, stay tuned
Hold up,
for
what
the
game's
next
that?
episode of the King Olly Show.
So,
Be sure to like
Crash
the video
3.
if you enjoyed it
So
and
what was it,
subscribe to keep
Crash
up with future
3,
episodes of awesome content.
Actually,
fucking
Before I end this episode right
Undertale,
here, I would
Bowser's
like to give a
Inside
shout
Story.
out to Lily, aka Boom Fanfic Halata.
Yep.
Subscribe to her on YouTube, follow
Already
her
did.
on Tumblr, and check out
Don't
her
have
amazing
Tumblr.
content containing randomness, insanity, fourth wall breaks, songs, and more. Also, she's been in the Origami King musical and the Koopa Troop cover of
Yep.
In the Final. And finally, follow her on Discord. All the links will be in the description. So anyway, I shall see you next time on the King Olly Show. Thanks for watching.
Alright, nice. Yep. Oh yeah, I played all those games in his favorites. That's cool. Right. Yep. I'm definitely reacting to episode 3 and all future episodes of this. But yeah, that'll do it for this reaction, guys. And holy shit, I'm low on space. Yeah, that'll do it for this reaction. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, later.